Hello, hello, hello. We had ourselves on mute. I am Reverend Dr. Irie Session.
I am Reverend Camila Hall Sharp. We are co-pastors of the Gathering, a womanist church in Dallas.
And we are on location.
Yeah, we out in these streets. We are coming to you live from Atlanta, Georgia. But we are bringing it to you live from Philadelphia, none other than the Dr. Jamie Eaddy Chism on tonight for our Womanist Wednesday kickoff for 2022.
Yes, we are.
Yes,
And we are
yes.
so excited to be here. How you feeling, Dr. Jamie Eaddy?
Look, you told me to take a couple deep.
Chism.
Listen, you told me to take a couple deep breaths. I'm feeling better.
Okay,
I'm feeling
good.
better.
Well, you're looking gorgeous.
Yes, you are.
Thank you. Thank
Green
you.
looks good on you.
I was going to say that. Green looks good on you, sis. Absolutely.
Look, got my Angela Davis.
Come on
You
now.
ready for
My
it? You
little,
ready for the
my little Angela
conversation?
Davis.
Absolutely. Well, Reverend Camilla, can you tell them why we're here in Atlanta?
Sure. We are here for Faith in Action clergy organizing training. We are excited to be learning how to get our community a little bit better organized so we can do some little changes, not only in Texas, but across this nation. Because y'all know what? It's time.
It is time. And it's time for womanist work.
It is time. Because let me tell you, womanist is doing some work in this space today.
My goodness.
But womanists are doing work in a whole lot of spaces, which is why these conversations are so important. For so many time, for so long, people have thought of womanist as just like a academic thing. But
Yes.
people, this is real life work that people doing every day, which is why we have these conversations every year to let people see the work that people are doing every day in these streets, who identify as womanists and who act in ways that are womanist and about the community.
That is right. And that is why we are here talking tonight to Reverend Dr. Jamie Eaddy Chism, because she is a womanist who is actually out here for real, doing some work, doing some ministry, all kinds of work and ministry. And so we want you, our community, to get to know her a little bit better and the work that she is doing. And so let's go ahead and begin and kick this off. And Dr. Jamie, we sent you some questions, but you know how this goes. Ain't no telling what we might end up talking about.
That's right.
So,
That's
and
right.
we want to be sure to let people know, because we have people watching us from all over the country. They are checking in. I'm seeing all our people coming in on Facebook and on YouTube. But y'all know this is a conversation. So when you have comments, you have questions, put them in the chat. And, you know, those become part of the conversation, because we are all in this conversation.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so let's begin with this question, Dr. Jamie. Well, first of all, just tell us about you. Who are you?
Yeah.
Who
So
is
thank
Dr.
you.
Jamie Eaddy Chism?
Yeah. Who am I? This is how I introduce myself. I am the daughter of Inez Brownhill, the granddaughter of Alberta Brown, and a cousin of Pauline Bennett. I named the last two women because although they are not here with us physically, they are two of the most instrumental women in my life. They shaped me into the woman that I am. I was born and raised on the land of the Lenni Lenape people, but the colonizers called it Philadelphia. And I am a poet, a healer, a good sister friend. And the work that I do um, is all about healing within our community from birth to death. And so that's sort of who I am. If I were to, I'm a good girlfriend. I'm somebody you can call and laugh and cry with. I love to preach and teach, but I recognize that the work that I do extends well beyond the pulpit. And so if I never get to preach inside a church again, right, I can go and preach on the street corners, in people's homes, as they are preparing to take their last breath. So that's kind of who I am in a nutshell.
Wonderful. So talk to us, Dr. Jamie, about how womanism shows up in your life, in your ministry, in your work, in your relationships.
Yeah, so that's such a great question. Um, I've had the opportunity to teach in sort of MDiv students, and I'll be teaching some demon students in this fall. And when I think about my opportunities in the teaching space in academia, I'm teaching pastoral theology, but I'm using a womanist lens. And so as I engage the students, um, if we can center Black women, and even further, right? If we can center Black trans women
Come on
in
now.
terms of how we practice care and how we think about, and even further than that, if we can center disabled Black trans women, right? In terms of how we engage people in care, if I can take care of this community right here, then I know that I am taking care of the extended community, right? And so I use that womanist lens through teaching. I in my healing work really centers on helping Black women heal, because I know that when Black women heal, families heal, communities heal. And
Mhm.
so that is, I love all folks, and I
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
center Black women in ministry, in education, in friendships, even because I know that when I do the work there, that the overflow, right, it is intentionally reaches all of the rest of us. So that's, I center Black women. I think about Black women when I'm developing programming. I think about Black women when I'm writing poetry. I am a Black woman. I'm thinking about even my own experiences as I prepare, whether it's teaching or preaching or just coming alongside somebody at the end of life, or
Mhm.
perhaps even on the birth spectrum, since I'm also a birth doula. So, centering how do I enter into the lives and help Black women heal and make sense and give birth and flourish and dream? How do I do that? When I do that, I know I'm doing it for all people.
Yeah. Can you say more, just a little bit about that? Because about when you center Black women, right, and when you care for Black women, then you are really, in essence, doing it for it all, doing it for all. Because a lot of people, right, when they hear womanism, when they hear that we center Black women's lives and experiences, to
Yeah.
them it sounds exclusionary,
Right.
right?
We're
So
leaving
talk a
everybody else
little bit
out.
more about how it is different.
Yeah, and so I always think about all of the isms, right? And so Black women who are facing sexism, classism, racism, and so many other isms, right? Misogyny, like it. If I am addressing those things that impact the well-being of Black women, if I address racism because it impacts the well-being of Black women, who else am I helping as I
Yeah.
address racism? When I address sexism because it impacts the well being of Black women, classism because it impacts the well being of Black women, how many opportunities am I creating, right, for wealth, for sharing in community, for this elimination of thinking about scarcity? How
Come
many
on.
people am I helping when I center the experiences of Black women who tend to be, right? So we can talk about that we're educated, right? Reverend Camille about Dr. Camille, right? Doctor,
Right.
we can talk about that, but the majority, right? Our community is not paid,
Mm.
right? So, overworked and underpaid, violence enacted upon Black
Yes.
women because of race, because of class, because of gender. So if I address those things that impede the progress, that impede the well-being of Black women, I am addressing things that impede the progress and the well-being of humanity. And
There it
so
is.
that is right. And so as my lens as a Black woman, yes, I'm thinking specifically about me, but I'm also thinking generally about all of humanity. One thing I'll say, Dr. Ari, is I tell people this all the time. As a Black woman, when I enter into a space, I am always giving consideration and thinking about everybody in this space,
Right.
right?
Boom.
Right.
Boom.
It is, it
Boom.
is, it
Boom.
is who I am. I enter into the space and I say, oh, well, I wonder how my language should be. My language needs to make sure that I open and welcome my trans siblings, that I am talking and not shaming those who are housing insecure. That and when I enter into a space, I'm thinking about all of those things. Not every person, white men don't have to do that,
Come
right?
on now.
So yes, I'm thinking about Black women because when I think about us, inevitably I'm thinking about all of us.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, thinking
Woo!
about us.
That's shout worthy.
Somebody said in the comments, we 5 minutes in and we in already. Yes, yes. But you said in your and when you were talking about who you are and what you do, you talked about how you life doula, but I mean a birth doula, but you're also a death doula. And that's a term,
Yes.
some people may not be familiar with for one. So can you
Yeah.
tell us what is a death doula and what
Yeah.
called you to that work?
Yeah. Yeah. So let me I'm gonna answer it in reverse. Okay, if that's okay. I was licensed in ministry or licensed and ordained in ministry in Washington D.C. at Metropolitan Baptist Church, where
Oh,
Reverend Dr. H. Beecher Hicks serves as the, or it was pastor then, but now is pastor emeritus, and Reverend Dr. Maurice Watson serves as the current senior pastor. While there, at when we were in D.C., there were probably 60 or 70 associate ministers. Y'all hear me?
60 or
wow.
70.
Yeah. Y'all hear me?
My
And
God.
we had assignments. And we had like hospital visitation, we had funeral rotation, right? Bereavement, we had all of these assignments. And you would think that with 70 people, I'm not throwing shade, I'm telling you the
Mm-hmm.
situation. You would think that with 70 people, that your rotation, you might not be on a crew for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Not so. For some reason, I was on hospital, funeral, bereavement area. Y'all hear
Mm.
me? Area. And I would complain about it. I would say, I don't want to do this. Is my last year. I'm not doing it no more. This my last year, and the
Uh-huh.
next year, and the next year. And finally, Dr. Cheryl McMillan, therapist, minister of pastoral care and counseling and family services, my therapist, listen to me, said, maybe you should lean into it a little bit, like see what's there.
Wow. Wow.
Right? Because I'm like, I don't want to do can I tell y'all, it ain't the sexy ministry.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Can I say it that way?
You
It
can
ain't the
say that.
sexy
Please
ministry,
do.
right? Ain't nobody calling the death duel or calling the ministers like for grief, right? Ain't nobody, that ain't, you ain't getting on people's platforms. I'm just telling y'all where I was. You ain't
Mm-hmm.
getting on the platforms. You're not getting on the circuit
Come
doing
on.
this death work. And I wanted to be on the circuit. Y'all hear
Yeah.
me? And so that's kind of how I got there. Um, so it was calling, it was pulling, and it was me answering. It was me realizing that in this space, I am unusually comfortable, right?
Oh,
I
wow.
am, there is this unusual comfort in the discomfort that comes with death and grief.
Mm.
There is a joy that I receive from sitting with people and helping them move through grief. There is I am filled
Wow.
in that space, right?
Wow.
Helping people navigate loss. I am filled and fulfilled in that space. And so I leaned in. But then in 2015, now I was at Verizon, leadership position. Y'all know how it is when you're in corporate,
Mm-hmm.
making nice money,
Mm-hmm.
3 months of vacation, could work
Three
from home.
months.
Listen, yes, listen to me
Mm-hmm.
when I tell you I had 12 weeks of time off,
Mm, mm, mm.
right?
Yeah.
Could work from home, had a
What
fantastic
you say?
team.
Work from home?
I could work from home, right? So on Mondays, here was what I did.
And
On
this
Mondays,
before COVID.
Yeah, right. This wasn't
this
doing
before
COVID.
COVID. This
Right.
2015, this talked about 2013, 14, 15. Okay. Before COVID, I would go in late on Mondays and leave early on Fridays. Go in late on Mondays because I was tired from the weekend. Leave early on Friday because I wanted to go to take myself to a movie.
Mm,
That was my routine, right?
mm-hmm.
But so that was my routine. And in 2012, Spirit said, it's time for you to leave this place. And I said, Lord, I ain't ready.
I ain't ready.
I ain't I ain't ready. And I say this jokingly, but this is really how it happened for me. I said, can I have 3 more years? Now, I said, can I have 3 more years? 3 more years. 2015, I'm at the Hampton Ministers Conference.
Mm,
2014, Hampton Ministers Conference. Spirit said, your 3 years is up.
wow.
And I left to pursue what I didn't know. I just know I was pursuing this thing full time. And God said, 2020, you'll see what I mean. In February, March of 2020, we entered pandemic and grief became a
Wow.
nation's problem, the world's
Wow.
problem. And I have been preparing
Mm.
for that time. So it is
And you didn't
calling,
even know you were preparing for that time.
did not know. I just knew 2020 something was going to happen. I
Wow.
didn't know what it was going to be.
Mhm.
Didn't know it was
Talk
going to
about
be. So,
obedience. Like
so,
the
so
Yes.
that
fact.
is,
Well, being sensitive to the spirit
Yeah, that's what.
and going where the spirit is leading you, despite what you might think you want, right? Like,
listen,
and
And
what?
what you enjoying. Let's be real
Yeah.
about
listen,
it. Because like you said,
spent
like
all my
you
money.
had three
Spend
three
all your
months vacation in corporate. Like that's a real thing. Like to
working
give
from
up.
home would have been a deal
Yes.
breaker. But just
Right.
like, I'm
And had
sorry.
to move to a place where now I got to ask people, can I be off? Can I take a half
Right.
day Wednesday? And they can approve it or deny it. Lord, are you serious?
Mm,
Mm.
mm, mm. My God.
So that's pulling, calling, gifting, all of that is how I got into that space.
So now tell us more about what
Oh,
you
death
do
doula.
as
Yes.
a
Yes. As a death doula, thank you. As a
Because
death
we
doula,
got caught up on
yeah
the
on the when you
on
said
the
you had
perks.
3 months. We was still like, wait a minute, what?
right, right. So as a death doula, um, we pay a lot of attention to how people enter into the world.
Mm-hmm.
We have doctors and nurses, we have midwives. People are buying gifts and throwing parties and thinking about. You're bringing someone into this world, and we focus our attention on it. What about the other end?
Mm-hmm.
Can we give the same kind of attention and intention to, I'm giving it to your first breaths in the world, right? Not so much in me, but in the world. I'm giving that attention to your first breaths in the world. Can I also give my attention and intention to those last breaths in this world? We don't know about whatever other world you might be going to, we might be going to, if we go into another world. Can I give some attention to those last breaths? And how do I do that? I walk with you, perhaps after, let's give best case scenario. You're in a hospice situation, you've been given a diagnosis, and I am walking with you, trying to help you figure out and discover what you want those last days to be like. This is ideal because not
Right.
everyone can voice this, but say ideal. You say, Jamie, I want all of my family. I got a big family. I want everybody to come by so I can tell them that I love them. I'm going to help you figure out this plan to get your family present, to say, so you can say you love them. I may work on a project with your family. Y'all
Wow.
want to make a movie? Everybody say their best memory of
Wow.
said loved one. I am going to walk with you through grief. I'm going to talk about this feeling is anticipatory grief. It's because you know that you're having these little losses along the way and this other loss is coming. I'm helping you and your family process grief. I am helping you think about paper. Y'all put it on paper. Those of you who are watching us tonight, put it on paper.
Say it again.
Don't assume that everybody knows. Well, everybody know what I want. No, they don't. No, they don't. And even if they do, it is, I'm gonna say it, selfish of us to
Yeah.
have them think through that when they need to be processing your exit from this plane,
Oh,
right?
Dr.
Mm.
Jamie, can I share something with you right quick?
Yes, yes.
I had a meeting with my ex-husband this past weekend
Okay.
about this very thing. I wrote out everything because he's my ex-husband, but I trust him. And
Yes.
and I was like, if I go before my daughter does, which I pray to God that's what happens, she's going to need you to help
Yes.
her. And so I gave him everything. And I said, and now you need to do the same thing because she
Yes.
needs to know what it is that you want. And so
Yes.
thank you for
Yes.
affirming that the importance of that.
Yes.
And
It's so
excuse me,
important.
and I want to point out, as I believe Attorney Natasha Robinson said, put it on paper and notarize it. Come on, let's be real about this situation. Because the way the
Legalese,
truth
tell
about
them.
it is, and I'm
Tell
just
them.
gonna say, 2 times that people get real ugly is in weddings and funerals.
Mm,
Yes.
And people, we hurt people in a whole lot of ways.
mm,
And so
We
it's
hurt
very
people a whole
important
lot of
that we
ways.
tell people what we want. And then on the other
Put it
part, we
on paper.
honor what people asked us to do.
wow. Okay, and
Yes.
Camila, I got to tell you that you are on that list. So
Oh,
I
well,
got to tell you
thanks.
there's some things
Oh, okay.
that I need you to do
Thanks
to
for letting me
also.
know.
Yeah.
Honor. But you said it, honor. And so that is what I do. I help you I help you as well as much as I can. I open up space for you to consider what it means to honor your loved one, because we do have our own thoughts about what your last days should be like. But
Mm-hmm.
those are my last days, and so let me plan it if I can. But if I can't, can I help you honor them? Right. And
Wow.
so walking with them until that, those last moments, helping families understand different signs and symptoms that they might be witnessing occur with their loved one. And really, I am building up the family. I am holding them up so that they can be present. Because I should disappear in the woodwork. You don't need to see Jamie in the space,
Wow.
right? Really, if family is there, I should disappear in the
Mm.
woodwork because I'm helping you be present for your loved one.
Wow.
I'm helping you gain comfort with holding the hand of someone who is about to take their last breaths, because it might feel like it's a little scary. But I
Wow.
don't need to hold their hand. Let me help you. Now, of course, I will, but
Sure.
I'm holding you up so that you can be present. And I do that. I have walked with um, between hospice and death doula space and hospice chaplaincy, hospital chaplaincy, and death doula. I have walked with 467 people to their last breath, and that is yeah, 467 people
Wow.
to their last
That's
breaths,
amazing.
and
And
supported countless families on in grief and all of that. That's the people. So I've supported families as well.
I know what your last question is, Reverend Camila, for her. And I can see when she said 400, I thought about what your last question and why you
Mm.
always ask it. We'll get there. Um,
Okay.
wow, that's
That might be
amazing.
question.
She gonna get you. She gonna get you. Uh, wow. That so what is womanist about being a death doula?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I mean, let's think about our great 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 grandparents
Yeah.
who were even before they got here, but let's take here too, who were present. Who Let's think about the great grandmother who was the sage and the wisdom worker in the village, who would be present, who would know that somebody is nearing their last days even before you told them sometimes, and they would
Uh-huh.
be present and helping you make mixed teas and other concoctions that you could help ease the pain and be present with, and they were helping you sing and chant and hum and helping you take care of the body. And after the person takes their last breath, they were helping you wrap the body and give a proper burial if that is your tradition, right? They were honoring, right? They Our great grandparents did that. And if we take before dying became, or funerals and dying became so sort of medicalized, we folks died in their living room.
Yeah.
Mm.
They were at home, and somebody in the family was present and comforting them and making sure they were out of pain and that their body was tended to and that people understood what was happening in the space. I don't know how much more womanist you might get
Mm.
with one being able to tap into your own spirit and intuition, to see what somebody might need toward their last breaths,
Yeah.
to give your time and your space to create ground, that a person can take their last breaths in ways that honor them. Because a
Mm.
death doula, here's one thing: those of you who are interested in becoming death doulas, and I hate to say this, and I often have to say this to Christians. I'm just putting it
Yeah.
Come
out,
on.
who want people to die in the way that they have interpreted a Christian death, right? They
Mm.
have, this is how it should be. That's not a death doula. You
Wow.
you just a faith worker in your community. Great, it's not a bad thing. But as a death doula, I support Buddhists and Wiccans and
Mm.
atheists, and I create the space that honors them. Has
Mm.
nothing to do with my faith. So as
Come
a
on.
death doula, And I think that is womanist, where I can see you as human and not think about what you are bringing to how much money you make, what accomplishments. I am seeing humanity with humility.
But
As a devil,
I wonder, Dr. Jamie, if that does have everything to do with your faith.
That's what I was just thinking. I was
so
like, so
so
let's talk
no,
about
no.
that.
So yes, I do. I think it has to do with my faith, but yes, because y'all know we all kinds of Christian out here.
Right.
Right.
Right. I'm a Christian. I have relationship with Christ. I believe in this, right? And God and Holy Spirit. And
And
it is not my it really is not even my responsibility to force you to believe in life and love and faith in God and Jesus in the way that I believe.
that's right.
What my role is here on earth is to walk alongside you humanity, with humility,
Mm.
without doing harm. That's my role.
That's it. That's
To
it.
walk with humanity, with humility, without doing harm.
That's it.
I, don't, I care and don't care what you believe, right? I care because it's your belief, so I want to honor and I care about that. And I don't care because you that's yours.
Mm-hmm.
And yours don't take away from mine. And so
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing about being womanist in this space is the ability to navigate the space in that way, to let you be you and to
Yeah.
honor you. Because
Yeah.
far too often Black women are told they got to contort and bend and do
Come
and
on.
be
Come on.
all this other stuff. What does it look like for this Black woman to enter into a space and say, okay, you're a Black trans man, you're a Latin trans woman, you are disabled, you were incarcerated once. What? Okay, what can I do to walk alongside you
You.
and honor you? That's it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Dr. Jamie, one of the things I'm going to ask you to do when this is over, because this
Yeah.
chat is blowing up,
Okay.
and it's moving so fast, we don't have time to call
I
out.
will
You
check
know,
the
we only got
chat.
an hour,
Yes.
so I need you to go back and
Yes.
look at these comments. There may be some questions that
Okay.
you can address. So
Yeah.
let me just shout out the chat.
Right. And shout out all the people who
Yes.
All the
have
people.
joined us. Because now you
Yes.
see
Yes.
the people are in
Oh
the
Lord.
building
They
on
are in the
Facebook and
building.
YouTube. But
Oh
you know, you
Lord.
just said something real, but you talking about how Black women got to contort themselves to fit into all these things. Let's talk about that.
And all this stuff.
What is a strategy you've employed that
Mm.
has helped you as a Black woman navigate these white spaces?
Yeah, that's so. Can I tell y'all the first time, like with intention, right? Because we're always navigating the spaces, but
Right.
there came a time when, again, using my Verizon life, I got promoted at Verizon. You have to make so much money more than the folks you manage, right? And
Okay.
so I became a first level supervisor. And one of my colleagues used to be a second level white male. He used to be a level above me, but now he was my level. So we were the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was left in charge, but he had more experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so he would come into the space and I would say, okay, this is what we're going to do, blah, blah, blah. And he would always push back, buck against it, right? Buck, 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 buck. And so one day I was at home, I was like, okay, this is not going to work. Like, I can't keep coming in here and trying to defend myself. And
Right.
right, because I, I actually know how to do this better than you. So
Mm.
let me mediocre, let me go and figure out.
Come on, mediocre.
And I'm not talking about everybody. I'm just
Oh,
that one
I
percent
got you.
person,
I got you.
Mediocre.
right? And so one day I went. This is when I started, and I came into my power. I said, I was going to say his name. I said, "Can you come into my office? Because I also had an office. Yes, Lord. Right?
Uh-huh.
Can you come into my office?" I said, "I think we should talk a bit. Um, I want to acknowledge that you have been here at the company for, at that time I was like 30, for 30 some odd years. So you're entering into this space with this, what you probably see is this young girl who ain't as old as you have years of service. So I want to put that on the table. On top of that, it's a young Black girl.
Come on.
Right?
You
I said,
called
so,
it. You named it.
right? I want to put that on the table that you, as an older white male, now has to listen to. the ideas and the strategy of a younger black woman who also has less service than you. I get that that might be causing you some tension. What I want you to know is we're going to have to figure out how to be in this space with me doing what I do, which is strategizing and casting vision, and you honoring the vision that I cast. Because a couple things are for certain. I
Mm.
am always going to be 30 something or young, I'm always going to be 30 some odd years younger than you. Can't do
Yeah.
nothing about that.
Right.
I'm always going to be black,
Uh-huh.
right? And it's in how I identify,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not going to be able to change. What will have to change is how you address me
Mm.
and how you follow the vision. Now, I would invite people to the table to share it, that I didn't cut it off, but you would buck against. So, in that moment, I let him know if you are going to be on this team,
Mm.
right, you will have to respect, even if you inside are not respecting me, you will respect the position
The
that I
position.
hold.
Yes.
Right. So that was my first time, like really, and it took a minute, yo. I
Oh,
practiced.
I'm sure.
I wrote it out. I was like, so talk about your age. Talk about he has more service than you do age. No, right there. Like I practice. I had
Mm-hmm.
because I had to, we're used to shrinking. And
Right.
Yeah,
so I
that
had to
part.
practice that. And I wasn't even 30, I don't think, at the time. So
Right.
I really needed to practice that. And it was in that moment that I made a couple of decisions. That one, um, I was going to use my voice in those spaces to make sure that privilege was addressed, right? That you think you come in with privilege, I'm going to name the stuff in the room and sit it on the table.
Mm.
Now, because if I don't name it, you can call it all these other things.
Right.
So
Right.
I want to make sure that I bring attention to what it really is, right? And so that's what I started doing in those spaces. And then I made a couple of other rules for myself. Like rule number one, I don't take notes if I'm the only black person in the meeting.
Come on. Or woman.
Yeah, and I know that sound like that's a little thing, but that is like if I'm the only black
Oh
person
yeah.
in a
You
meeting
mean take notes
For
for
the
the
group.
meeting?
for the meeting,
Like be yeah. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
right? And little things like I'm like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't take notes for the meeting if I'm the only black person in the meeting. I don't take notes for the meeting if I'm the only woman in the meeting. Like
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
got it.
I have
Mm-hmm.
certain rules that I'm not. You're not gonna be like, oh, she'll take no.
No.
So I don't
Yeah.
take notes, but I really do call people. I call people on I name the thing, and I let you tell me I'm wrong.
Uh-huh.
You have to tell
Mm.
me I'm wrong. And I'll tell you, nobody has ever said I'm wrong.
Wow.
They've not said I'm wrong. When I bring it's difficult for you to have to um, acknowledge the leadership of a black woman who comes in with braids and Angela Davis earrings
Mm-hmm.
and listens to at that time, right? Listens to Jay-Z or
Yeah.
Nas, and like that really pains you, doesn't it? Because and doesn't wear a suit in that way. Those
Right.
on a suit jacket, some pants that will hug her hips a little bit, and
Uh-huh.
some nice heels. That bothers you because I don't look like you're used to what you're used to seeing
Right.
in your spaces.
And
But
in authority.
Yeah.
right, here's the thing. I want you to expand a bit. Like I that is the conversation. And you have a choice.
Yeah.
You don't have to be on the team.
Yeah. Oh,
You
I
don't
love
have to
it.
be on the team.
Yeah.
And I would say that you don't have to be on the team. And I'm giving you an opportunity to think about whether or not you want to do this with me. Because I'm telling you, if you do it with me, it will be good.
Yes.
Or you can say, I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
I've had one person say they can't do it.
Wow. You
One
know,
person said
I,
they
I
can't do it.
really appreciate, Dr. Jamie, that you are laying out really strategy and you're helping the folk, particularly the sisters, the black women who are listening to this, with um, with things to think about in terms of their own
Yeah.
navigation of predominantly white spaces, of things they can do and they can say. And I thank you for that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank you.
I want to actually, before we go, there's a couple questions I saw just popped up in the chat that
Okay.
I kind of want to go to. One of them, Dr. Reverend Tracy, who was the one of our ministry part, she said,
Yeah, I know.
"How would
Yeah.
you advise people who remain fearful of death itself, and those who are reticent to be around the dying?"
That's good. So I acknowledge that fear of death is very real. Like I don't, I'm not even trying to get you to not have some fear. What I'm trying to get you to do is to move with the fear,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I say I'm unusually comfortable in the discomfort that comes with the space.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is some, it doesn't necessarily always feel good for people. So I don't want you to erase the fear. What I want you to do is to think about how you might still move forward with the fear. Because here's what I know, we move forward with fear in other things.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm.
let's talk about how we move forward with fear in this space. Also, I talk about death as both final and infinite, right? So it's final. This person in this form is not here with you. So you don't get to touch Big Mama no more.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why I named Alberta Brown and Pauline Bennett is because they live on in me,
Ah.
right? So it's okay. I get a lot of folks who are afraid to talk about, to think about death.
Mm.
And I'm okay sitting with you in the fear
Mm-hmm.
and getting you to wonder with me. Let's wonder. I wonder what it might be like to take the step with the fear. I wonder what it might be like, like one person said, I can't even say death. It'll bring it
Wow.
on. I said, well, guess what? Let's try that. Let's
Mm.
think of something, let's say it, and see if it prompts it to be,
Ah.
right? Let's say it. So we might say something, and then I'm making this one up. Let's say money, and see if saying money prompts it to be. They're like, well, that doesn't work that way. Okay, so let's talk about how death doesn't necessarily work that way. Now, um, we can do damage and kill, in a sense, ourselves, our
Yeah.
spirits, we can do so. Yes, we can do that, but just saying death does not bring death. And so I sit with you in your fear. I don't shame you for the fear.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Right.
thing. I think the reason why people hold the fear is because we shame them so much that they don't want to open
Right.
to see if there's more.
Yeah.
Have the fear, and let's talk about how you can still walk with it. Have the fear, and let's talk about how even in your fear, you and maybe somebody else can hold Big Mama hand at her bedside, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fear and all, that you can I can be with you, or someone can be with you, or you can be with yourself. Fear and all. See, fear and anxiety and all of that, it can exist with the ability to move forward. All of that can coexist. You don't have to eliminate the fear. Can we move with the fear? So that's one thing. And the other thing, about being around people who are dying, I really like to talk about death as sort of a part of life. And so they are still living, right? They're dying and living. And so what does it mean to just be present
Mm-hmm.
in life's continuum? Because it's part of the continuum. And for Reverend Tracy, for Dr. Tracy, I think part of this is if we talk more about it.
Yeah.
That's why I like to talk about it. The more we talk about it, the more folks say, "Oh, I wonder, maybe I can ask questions."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait a minute. You mean it's not off limits?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a silly question? And so that is how we help people navigate the fear, not necessarily eliminate it,
Yeah.
but navigate it. Because you can still move with fear. I move with fear all the time. We all
Wow.
move with fear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do.
All right. So we got three more questions, and you got the
Okay.
last two. I got two that I
Go.
want to.
You go.
So my first question, my next question is going to lead into something I want you to share with the community that you got on
Okay.
the horizon, and I think my
Okay.
first question will lead into that. What is sisterhood to you?
Sisterhood. It is beloved, sacred community that that both allows and calls for me showing up as my whole self without shame. It is the willingness for us to be present with each other for our dreams,
Mm.
right? Even if our dreams seem similar,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
right? Because sometimes we like, well, she trying to do healing work too.
Uh,
We can't,
come,
I can't befriend her. Me and Dr. Irie both
uh,
trying to help women live their best lives. Well,
uh,
certainly she can't be my friend because I need the women to come to me so they can
mm.
live their best lives. No, sisterhood says
Yeah,
the world is big.
It really
yeah,
is.
Sisterhood says we can coexist doing the same similar work because it's going to be a reflection of us, thereby different.
that's right.
Sisterhood welcomes me, invites me, and challenges me to find myself and to live that out as fully as possible. It is the space that we incubate for growth and for smoothing off our growing edges and for dreaming together, for letting things die together, for calling each other in together. It is that kind. Sisterhood for me is that. It is we can laugh together, we can cry together, and you can say, girl, that was some morning that you did last week. And like that is sisterhood. Even if I'm mad, sisterhood is I don't believe that most women are out to hurt me.
Come on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? Sisterhood says, I am I am going to shed ego and some of the pain that I'm carrying, the trauma that I'm carrying that causes me um, to want to distrust and to want to push away. Sisterhood says we got to work through that because we exist together.
Yeah,
So for me, and I hope I'm answering for those in the chat,
yeah,
like that is sisterhood to me. Sisterhood loves you and tells you your stuff stink when it stinks.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sisterhood dreams with you and might help you with a strategy to how to achieve the dream. Sisterhood calls you in and helps you let go of stuff that's holding you back.
Mm,
Sisterhood steps out the way if in this moment I might impede your progress,
mm,
right? Sisterhood recognizes that there's some things in me that I still need to work on. And right now, I can't support Reverend Camila in this spot. Let me call Dr. Irie until I can get my mind right. Like
mm.
sisterhood shares. Sisterhood says, I don't have to be the only one to help people navigate grief. Listen, I know some other wonderful, and I do, I promote sisters. I know some other
Yep.
wonderful sisters,
Right.
right? Black sisters, trans, I support us. I know some sisters that you might want to call. Like sisterhood does that. Sisterhood says
Yeah,
there is no scarcity. All of us can make a living and can pay our bills and can
that's
eat
right.
well and travel if we want to.
Yeah.
Sisterhood, that for me, that is sisterhood.
Yes, yes. Reverend Verzola in the chat, she says sisterhood welcomes, invites, and challenges, and that's some of what I heard you saying as well. And
Yeah.
also, I hear you saying sisterhood is not threatened by the success of other sisters.
Sisterhood both wants you to be successful. I feel like I'm frozen. I hope I'm coming. Sisterhood wants you to be successful. Sisterhood, when you are not successful in the way that you desire to be. Sisterhood might even help you reframe it so that you pull the jewels out
Mm,
that you can give it another try.
mm,
Sisterhood is not threatened by you and your PhD, you and your D-men. Sisterhood says, guess what, y'all? I am damn good in the thanatology space.
come on now.
I am good with grief, loss, death, dying, bereavement, and trauma. I am good. You can be good at your stuff too. I, and it could be
That's
some of
right.
the things that I named. That's okay. We can be good together.
Mm-hmm.
Sisterhood shares ideas because they recognize that somebody else might be able to take care of this baby better than you can. So let's
Yeah.
throw some stuff out in the pot and
Yeah.
see what shakes out. I got this one, y'all. I can really do something with this.
Yeah.
Sisterhood's not threatened. Sisterhood wants us to experience life together.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Now, speaking of sisterhood, you've got something because
Yes,
you're expansive, right? So yes, you
yeah,
do the death. You're a
yeah,
death doula. You're a preacher. You're a teacher. You're a scholar. You've also got some other things that you're working on to
yeah.
help your sisters. Now, I'm going to uh, put it up here so that
Okay.
people can. Uh oh, that's not it. Hold on, give me a second.
I
There we
can't wait
go.
to get to this
Talk to the
chat,
people.
y'all. I'll
Talk
talk
to
to
the
the
people.
people. Yes. So remembering you circles, remember and remember, right? Helping, doing something to put ourselves back together again, but to do it in community, because many of us are navigating some significant pains due to loss, both death related and non-death related losses. Some of us are living with shame because of some of the things that we've lost, some of the experiences that we've had. Some of us should have just had loss after loss after loss and haven't had a chance to process the grief. And so the remembering you circles are really designed to help put you back together again. And there are 6 week circles. We have 3 circles going on right now. One starts Monday the 13th, one starts Thursday, and then one starts in July on a Saturday. And I don't remember the July dates, but you can go to we can talk. I'll be in the chat. And here's the thing about the circles have no more than 8 people in the circle, and they're, I'm gonna be honest,
Yeah,
they're Black clergy women, right?
yeah,
Have no more than 8 people in the circle, because you need to keep it small
right,
so that we
right.
can be ourselves in that space, right? And so yes, the sisterhood circles for remembering you, I invite you. And yes, it does cost $249, and I'm giving out scholarships, and I have people on a $10 a week payment plan. I don't it's It is more important to me
Come on.
that you come to the circle and we can figure out the rest later. If you want to come to the circle, commit yourself for 6 weeks. Yes, we can figure the rest of it out. I'm so serious. I'd rather you come and work toward your healing than to not come and continue walking with burdens that maybe you don't need to be carrying anymore.
Come on.
So,
Now
if
let
you
me
want,
just let me wait.
yes,
Let me say this right here. Anybody from that joins or wants to be on the remembering circles that's on this chat right here, we need you to pay the full $249. If you need some help and you're
right.
on this link today, you reach out to us at the gathering because we want to make sure Dr. Jamie gets paid.
And it is
Yes,
two
yes.
forty nine for
Thank
6 weeks.
It's
Dr. Melville was asking. Yeah, it's for the whole six
for
weeks.
for the whole 6 weeks,
you
and
can't
you
beat
get
that with a stick. I
right,
mean,
because you
that's
also
that's
get
two
something in
counseling
the mail,
that's two counseling sessions right there.
and you
Two
not
hundred
pay.
fifty dollars.
I promise you. Thank you, Doc. They not pay. You get something in the mail. I'm telling you that that is a lowball price,
Uh
because
huh.
I just want people in the circle.
I know.
And yes, pay the $249 if you have it. I had a sister say, Jamie, I don't need no scholarship. Here's a $249.
There it
If you
is.
have it, absolutely, please pay, because it helps other people. But if you
Mhm.
don't have it, we can talk. So yes, remembering you circles, and there'll be some circles in the fall.
Wonderful. All right. Your last question. You got the last one.
Or do I? I'm gonna chat some more.
Oh, you want to chat some more?
No, that's fine. No, you can leave that. You can leave that.
Okay.
Well, Dr. Jamie, thank you so much for what you've been talking about. But you said, and I want to make sure I got the right number. You walked with 467 people. Was that the number
Yes.
you gave us?
Mm.
And
Yes.
that's just in that work. That's not in the all the other work that you do. In all the places, because like you said, your work is expensive. You're here doing stuff with the sister circles. You're a ministry partner at the gathering. You also at your church in Philly. You're doing the work in a whole lot of places.
Yeah.
So
So this is not the people from church. This is This is whether I was their hospice chaplain or their death doula.
Mm-hmm.
Right, right. But I'm saying, in addition to those 467 people, you had the
Mhm.
people at church, and you
Yeah,
had
my
the
cousin died.
Right,
Right.
right,
exactly,
right.
People. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So what I want to know, and everybody who's been to Womanist Wednesday know, I ask this question at the end all the time. What are you doing to take care of Jamie?
Yes. Thank you. So, let me put this out there. Um, about 6 minutes ago, the my one of my sister friends said, "Mommy went home, sis. Mommy
Uh,
went home."
6 minutes
And
ago.
so, yeah, text me and said, "Mommy went home, sis. Mommy went home." I visited with her and her mother today, and I held her mother's hand, and I let my girlfriend know that I said, "Baby, you did good." Right? Because we always question ourselves in that.
Right,
Yeah.
I don't know if I did enough. I said, look at me, look at me. You did good. And I talked to her mom like her mom is here, because that's one thing we need to do with people who are nearing their last breaths. Talk to them because they are human and they are here and they can hear you. So I talked to her mom for a bit. And I mentioned to Dr. Irie and Reverend Camila that I found out yesterday that a friend I had been friends with for 37 years, we grew up together, um, cardiac arrest. Her daughter graduates high school next week.
Mm.
Jesus.
And so, and I just did a grief session for a church.
Mm.
So there's a lot of grief and loss and death and dying in the space that I find myself in. Part of the self-care for me, Reverend Camila, is one, knowing that this is where I'm supposed to be brings a certain kind of peace in the work.
Mm.
I'm not going against the grain. Y'all know sometimes when we are we're not in our lane, it doesn't necessarily quite feel right, right? So I'm part of the self care is I have found me and I am
Mm.
doing me. So that's the
Yeah.
start of self care. Is
Yeah.
Jamie is doing Jamie. Now beyond that, I know how to shut down. I know how to say that I am not doing anything on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday this week. That those 3 days will consist of hot bubble baths and maybe, some kind of ritual to acknowledge all of the loss that I was
Mm-hmm.
present
Mm-hmm.
for, that I might also let it go. The things that I tell people to do, the reflecting, the reconnecting, I do those things myself. So I have some, certain rituals that I do that help me process the loss that might not be mine directly, but
Mm.
that I'm a part of. So I process that. I believe in therapy. Reverend Dr. Sean McMillan, PhD, a psychotherapist. Uh, I believe in having a therapist as part of our self care. Now we
Mm.
can talk to our friends. That's great. And I think therapy, counseling is also important, right? So that's part of my self care. And I'll tell you this, I know when I'm not doing a great job with self care because I start to gain weight, and I've gained weight. And what I'm saying is that I start to eat when I'm bored,
Mm.
and I start to anxiety will well up in me, and I will mistake anxiety for hunger. I will
Mm.
mistake. So that's why we got to know how we feel, because you can mistake a feeling for something else. And when I'm starting to mistake anxiety for hunger,
Wow.
I'm eating so much, it's like, oh, wait a minute, Jamie, you need to pause for a second because something's wrong. So that's self-care. Some of that is after the fact, but it brings me back to a central place where I can be whole. So that's and sisterhood. Being able to talk to my girlfriends and laugh with my girlfriends and stuff like that. That also helps me stay sane and stay well. And I listen to spirit. If spirit says don't do nothing else this week,
Mm-hmm.
then I I can't do nothing else this week. So those are my self care. But let me tell you, y'all know they making houses and apartments without tubs. That is blasphemous. To have a bathtub. I need a tub. I got a
Yeah.
huge tub. Let me tell y'all. So
Yeah.
that's part of my self care routine. And laughter. I don't take myself that serious. I do death work and I don't take myself that serious.
Yeah, Well, let me tell you, the people are in the chat
Yes.
thanking you for all
I
you're
can't wait to
doing.
get to the chat.
Mama Vontrell said, you also got comments on YouTube, just so you know. Because I just
Okay.
realized Mama Vontrell's on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And so the people are, and we want to thank you for taking this hour out of your day and
Yes.
sharing with us. You know how much we love you, but it was
I
important
love y'all.
that the people hear and see the work that you're doing on the day. To get a better understanding of
Yeah.
of how this works and how you
Yeah.
work, and the importance of your work, because it's the what you're doing. And as I saw so many people saying in the chat, like, you helping people today.
That's right.
Just talking
Mhm.
about how what you do and how you do it is helping
Yeah.
people, and it's
Oh,
important. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And
thank
we want to
you.
thank everybody who joined in on the conversation. Let me tell you, the
Thank
Yeah.
y'all so
gatherers
much.
and all the peeps, they just came in, and we appreciate you because the conversation was good and the people showed up. We're going to be back here
Yeah.
again next week. Same time, same places. And put it up, Dr. Iris, so we have everybody. I know we have Dr. I keep want to call everybody.
Naomi.
Yeah, Naomi.
Yes.
Yes, so the conversation gonna be good again next week.
It's gonna be
I'm
hot.
showing
Like, let
up.
me tell you, somehow we have managed every year to get a phenomenal lineup of womanists,
Wow.
practitioners, and scholars. Because we also got Dr. Erica Dunbar gonna be coming up the week after that, Hebrew Bible scholar, and then Dr. Shively,
Dr.
New
Shively.
Testament. So we
Come
gonna
on.
we gonna end with the Bible. But let me tell you, I want y'all to all join us every week. It's gonna be pretty good.
Yes.
You know what? You don't have to just come on Wednesdays. In case you didn't know, you can join us on Saturday. 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. same place, Facebook, YouTube. We have a 1 hour service. And Dr. Melvin will know more than anybody on this thing how much a 1 hour service after this weekend we had, okay?
I heard about that, Dr. Melvin. I heard y'all had to walk out of someplace, but okay.
But anyway, thank y'all, everybody. You want to say, I'm sorry?
Yeah, just Dr. Jamie, let me just say this. And this is personal. I am a living witness of the benefit of working with Dr. Jamie. I had a situation that occurred in my life that could have taken me down a spiral of self-loathing and hatred and humiliation. And I thought I was going, and the first person that came in my mind to consult with was Dr. Jamie. And uh, and I paid for her services, and I would have paid her 4 times what she asked me for. But I thought I was going to have to meet with her like 6, 7 times. Let me tell you something. After the first session, because I was serious and I did like what she told me to do.
That part. I leave it. Right. That part out.
Yeah, and I did what she told me to do. It changed the trajectory of where I'm going right now, and I healed quickly. And so the way you talk to me, Dr. Jamie, just the gentleness, even with the hard stuff I told you, man. So I'm telling y'all,
Thank you.
I would, if you needed this, the Remembering Circles, you need to sign up. So thank you,
Yeah.
Dr. Jamie. We
Thank
love
you.
you. We
I love
appreciate
y'all.
you. And
Yes.
you'll have something in your Cash App in about 10 minutes.
Thank you. And I'm showing up next week because Reverend Naomi is the truth. Let me say it.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
We love you. Thank everybody for
Love
joining
you.
us tonight. We'll see you next time.
See you. Have a